Welcome, camera enthusiasts. I've been working on Nikon FE the last few days. The camera has, I foamed it, oiled it, cleaned it, made some adjustments, and it's pretty much ready to be put back together. I thought before I did that you might want to see what's inside, maybe trip the shutter, that sort of thing. And so let's get started. Switch cameras here. What should we start with here? Normally I start with the top cover, so let's do that. All right, there we go. Okay, top cover on this camera was extremely clean. As you can see, no dents and no dings. Looks really brand new. The sticker here on the front showed that it passed when it left the factory where it was made. I guess somebody checked it. I always really get a kick out of it when it's stickers on a camera after all these years. I mean, how old is this camera? 40 years? 50 years? I don't know. And the sticker is still on there. And I always leave them on. I don't remove them. But the rest of the camera, the top cover here is real clean. The flash shoe's not dinged. The viewfinder here, there's a rubber cup around the is put on there so you don't scratch your glasses. Battery checks right here. Inside's clean. Flash contacts down on there. Anyway, let's move on to another part. Bottom cover. Nice and clean again. No scratches, no dings. Let's switch to another camera here. Look at that. Nice and clean. And no scratches to speak of. Maybe they kept it in a case. Looks great. This camera's going to go a long time. Love it when I get a camera like this. All right, let's move on to something else. Next thing we're going to look at here is the mirror gauge. This is an electronic camera. You can see the electronics are up here on the top. It's a ceramic board. You can see how many pots are on it. Let me get a tool here. And look, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pots. A lot of the electronic cameras only have 1 or 2. Nikon was a notch above, so they put more. And there's 3 more there. They control different things. Mechanical camera doesn't have near this much control. And an IC, as you can see right there. Is there one on this side? Yeah, there's one there. At least I think it's an IC. I don't know what that does. You work on these cameras year after year and you forget what things do. You just, you fix them. You never even think about it. Let's switch to a different camera. Okay. See the levers here on the side, which control the camera, the mirror, flipping up and down. More levers there in the bottom. And then some stuff over here. This right here controls the mirror, how fast it goes up and down. It's you don't want the mirror moving up too fast or down too fast or it'll bounce. And this right here is a little cylinder here that has air in it, and it slows or controls it. I guess you'd call it a governor in a way. This gear right here is interlinked to the front, and it's your f-stops. And the f-stops, you change them on the lens. This gear turns and hits a resistor. I'll show you here in a minute. That controls your meter. And here you can see the circuit board a little bit better. These ceramic circuit boards cost more, and they're better, but unfortunately they do break easier if the camera's dropped. Switch to the other side. Here we go. Same. Nikon makes excellent cameras, and when you pay more, you're paying for this on the inside also. Viewfinder. Photo cells here and here for exposure. The screen in this particular camera drops out by moving this little lever right here. The Nikon, the Nichromats that I've worked on recently didn't have that. You actually had to go into the camera to clean the screen. But on this camera, the customer himself can drop the screen out and clean it. He has to be very careful, though. It just takes a nick to damage the screen. And, of course, their fingerprints will get on it, too. So even a camera repairman like myself has to be very careful when removing the screen. Some people won't do it, some will. Normally, I suggest customers just use canned air to clean screens. And as far as taking them out, I guess it counts on how sure of themselves they are. You can see the follower here. Let's see if I can get that gear to move. Okay. Move the follower and that gear. There we go. I'm moving the follower up front as if you were changing the f-stop on the lens. Changes a gear, which engages another gear on the body, which changes resistance. This over here is your stop down lever. When you trip the camera, it presses against the lens. Up here is the speed control on this particular camera. It's needles. The needle's inside here. And you can't see it. There's a bumper that actually the needle can hit when it goes to either the lowest or highest exposure. I forget which. There's one on both sides. And that's pretty much it. Let's see if we can trip this. Charging it on this particular unit, that needs to be moved that way. And that needs to be moved like so. And now the mirror cage is charged. And this lever right here, if I press it down, the mirror over here will flip up. Let's try that and see if we can get it to do it. There we go. Mirror's up. Camera takes the exposure. Now when the shutter is through making the exposure, it presses against this lever here. Whoops, get around this way so you can see. Now watch the mirror will go down. If I apply enough pressure to it. Come on. That's a hard lever to press down. There we go. And it was pressed, and now the mirror is down. Okay, that's enough about the mirror cage. Let's look at the body next. We're looking at the shutter here, as you can see right here. If you watched any of the Nichromat videos, why, it looks pretty much the same. The only difference is that this is an electronic camera, so this is the magnet right here that releases it. Or maybe you could say it's the magnet that holds it and then releases it at the right time. Your more expensive cameras, or maybe the cameras made in later years had two of them. This one just has one. I don't remember if the FE2 has two or not. But you can see this right here is the self-timer, which is mechanical. Let's see if we can switch to another camera here and get a closer look up. There we go. Oh yeah, it's nice. Little self-timers never changed much. I suppose there were a few that did go electronic. I've seen them. But most of them just stayed mechanical. And you can see the shutter right here. And it looks like it's in the closed position right now. And when you trip the camera, it holds that armature in place for the duration of the exposure. Shutter blades look like they're in good condition except for a little bit of wear right here, which hurts nothing. It's rubbing against something. And this right here is probably some oil. I'll need to remove that before I put the camera back together. Okay, let's see what else we can look at here. There at the top you see the foam. I always have to replace that on SLRs. They put it there to keep the light from around the top cover and the viewfinder getting down the film compartment when the film's being exposed. So nearly all of them have it there. And it's always a mess and always needs to be replaced. Over here there's a switch which turns the meter on and off right here on this camera. I'm gonna move it so you can see. Watch it, and there, you see it move. Now the meter's on. Now the meter's off. That switch has to be cleaned. I've had a few of them go out on me, but not many. It's pretty simple, but the meter goes on and off just from that one switch. Looking at the bottom, you can see the advance turning around, also charging the shutter. Battery compartment. This right here is for the film drive, motor drive. We charge the camera so it should fire. If I move this lever right here, let's see if we can see it. There we go. You saw the white card in the background. Let's do that again. Charge it. The mirror cage is what trips this. There. Focus problem there a little bit. When you're in this close, the camera doesn't know what to focus on. This right here is, I was telling you about the f-stop follower and resistance change that goes to the meter. This right here is not the resistor, but this is a contact that does go to the circuit. The resistor is in this right here. It goes on top. Kind of hard to see. Everything's black and white and the camera doesn't know what to focus on. But you can see the contacts. They go down and touch that contactor right here. And this right here is a ceramic resistor wheel, or disc, I guess you'd call it. And as you change the f-stop, it changes resistance that goes to those ICs on the camera that help control your exposure. This one resistor has double duty for ASA and the f-stop. Most cameras have that feature. It saves them from having to build two parts. One part does both. I've got to put this thing back together now. All right, let's switch cameras off here and get this done. Hope you enjoyed yourself, and hope you learned a little bit about the FE and how it works, and I'll see you next time. Later.